Clever packaging only gets you so far. In order to really get to grips with a big family, you need a seriously sizable MPV, and the Citroen C8 more than answers that call. With modest prices, big equipment counts and decent engines, it's a tough one to overlook.
Citroen has a knack for getting the most out of joint ventures. Whenever it enters into an agreement to shared develop a product with another manufacturer, its products tend to outsell them. Take the C8, it's a good example of this. It's a much more frequent sight on UK roads than its sister car, the Peugeot 807, and that's due to Citroen's aggressive marketing with 0% finance, free insurance, low deposit sweeteners and big cashback deals. Now, with a revised C8 range on sale, Citroen again look rather smug. There are more modern large MPVs you can buy, but this one seems to have hit the sweet spot with its combination of space, value and equipment. Although it can't be faulted for its luggage swallowing capacity or its safety provision, you wouldn't figure the C8 on being a particularly entertaining steer. Well, actually, although it's clearly no sports car, it's surprisingly agile, and if you pick from one of the two HDI diesels, it's also surprisingly quick on a cross-country jaunt. From a technical perspective, the pick of the range is the engine that I'm driving here, the 2.2 litre 175 bhp diesel that gets from rest to 60 in 11.4 seconds. Now, while that might not sound earth-shattering, the 400 Newton meters of torque that it packs gives it potent overtaking potential. The other diesel engine, the 2 litre HDI, is available in two forms, putting out either 120 or 136 brake horsepower, and both are well worth looking at. The 2 litre petrol engine is probably best avoided, particularly if you're going to load your C8 up, because it's only got 190 Newton meters of torque, so it's going to struggle a bit when fully loaded. Body control is well contained, although you're never going to mistake your C8 for a Lotus Elise. The ride is good on smooth roads, although on rutted surfaces the lack of chassis rigidity really marks the C8 out against some of its more modern rivals. The seats are comfortable too, and you get these kind of captain's chairs with the armrests in front, although they do lack a bit of lateral support when you're really pushing on. Now, there's plenty to cover in terms of practicality, and so many different ways that you can use this car and personalise it to your family's requirements, with things like an extra rearview mirror for the kids, or a refrigerated drinks holders, up to 3 sunroofs, a facility where the front seats can swivel so you can face the family when you're having picnics. There are up to 50 storage compartments dotted around the cabin as well, and space for up to 8 adults. And it's easy for those people to get to their seats thanks to the way that the gear stick is mounted on the dash and the flat floor. Now, if luggage capacity rather than people capacity is your thing, the seats you'll find will very easily go backwards and forwards, be folded or removed depending on what you want to do, thanks to Citroen's patented instant anchoring system, the quick fix system they call it. If you take all the second and third row seats out, you've got a removal van-like capacity of around 3,000 litres. The seats are almost mind-bogglingly adjustable in every direction. You can fold, spin, slide or detach them in almost every direction. Clap loudly and they even jump through a fiery hoop. Actually, I made that last bit up, but the combinations that you can get are really amazing. 4-zone air conditioning helps combat the effects of all those extra sunroofs if you've specified them. Multiplex wiring allows for such electronic niceties as light-sensitive headlamps, automatic wipers, and speed indexing for the control on the stereo, plus the rear parking sensors and guide you home headlamps, plus remote control for things like the sunroofs, the mirrors, the windows, and the electric sliding doors. Prices lie in the same £20,000 to £26,000 bracket as other largish 7-seat MPVs. Cars like Ford's Galaxy, of course Peugeot's 807, Renault's Espace, Fiat's Alhambra and Volkswagen's Sharan. You might also be tempted to compare this car to 7-seater mini MPVs like Vauxhall's Zafira and Toyota's Verso. Their salespeople will tell you that those are almost equally as spacious for 7 adults. Don't believe them. Over long distances, a large MPV is the way to go to transport 7 adults. In recent times, this C8 has adopted a smoother look with bolder Citroen chevrons on the front grille and at the rear, and more upmarket trim inside to give it a more prestige feel. Equipment levels across the range run to things like electronic stability control, automatic air conditioning, cruise control with a speed limiter, a CD stereo with MP3 compatibility, and leather dressing for the gear knob and the steering wheel. There's the extra cost option of a third row rear bench seat if you want 8-seater capacity. With most Citroen C8 sales being of diesel models, it's not surprising that running costs as a whole are pretty moderate. If you go for the 2-litre HDI with a 120 brake horsepower engine, you should get 40.9 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle. And if you pone it up for the 136 brake horsepower version of that engine, that figure falls only to a still creditable 39.8 mpg. Now if you go for the 2.2 litre HDI diesel that I'm gone for here, the combined fuel consumption figure is about 38 miles to the gallon, but you can get that up to about 43 if you're doing plenty of dual carriageway and motorway work. Emissions for the diesels range anything between 182 and 218 grams per kilometre, which is a pretty fair return for a vehicle of this kind of size and weight. Insurance groupings are reasonable too, starting in Group 10 for the entry-level models and running up to Group 14 for the range-topping 2.2 litre HDI exclusive version that I'm driving here. One thing to keep an eye on is residual values, which are hardly class leading, but you can offset the effects of that by negotiating a healthy discount at the time when you buy. With so many manufacturers turning to outlandish styling and gimmickry in order to sell their family-friendly large MPVs, it's good to find one that's sticking to the knitting with a no-nonsense big bus. Citroen seem to be reaping the rewards of this as well with the C8, with strong continual sales and continual tweaking keeping it fresh. It's by no means the freshest face on the block, but sometimes the combination of plenty of room, a good range of engines and attractive pricing is one that you don't really need to look beyond. As the first car in its class to get a 5-star Euro NCAP safety rating, the C8 certainly hasn't been overtaken by the opposition when it comes to safety provision, and that's an important consideration when you're hauling the family around with you. Our choice would probably be a 2-litre HDI with 120 brake horsepower, and if you get the right price on that particular model, you get affordable as well as practical family motoring.